everyone, welcome back. Akeisha here, the Trini Chef. Today I am going to do for you a Parmesan and crusted cod, which is a really nice recipe because it can be done for special occasions, but also just on a day where you want to put something together really quick, healthy, but also very tasty. I'm starting off today with an entire side of cod. All right, so this fish is a nice white, delicate, flaky fish. So when cooking cod, the one thing you want to be very mindful of is not to overcook it, but most of all, you want to cook it quick on high heat, so that way you can get the best out of it. You do not want to really slow cook because it tends to fall apart really easily, but it's a very tasty fish. So today's recipe is one that I feel is one any of us can do. And there's a few things that I'm going to discuss as we go along the way, but it's also very easy. All right. Okay, so we're going to start off, first of all, with the cod. All I've done is straight from the package. I got the entire side. I rinsed it very lightly in cold water, and that's it. I also seasoned it with a little olive oil, salt, pepper, and lemon zest. That's it. And I just rubbed the fish down, as you can see, with that. You can get a nice view, and that's it. So I have the entire piece of fish. The second thing I did is I prepared my pan. So here I have a baking rack, and I just put some onions on the baking rack. Then I'm going to line it with some lemons, and I'll explain why I did that to you. This baking rack here is what I'm going to use to allow the moisture to move away from the fish, but at the same time, so that way we can get that nice crust over the fish with the cheese and all the other toppings that we're putting on it. The onions are there so that the fish doesn't stick to my rack. So it makes it a lot easier to take off at the end. And then I'm going to add some lemons as well. And all this is going to do is it's going to help my fish from not sticking, but it's also going to impart a lot of flavor. And lemons and fish, as you know, it's a match made in heaven, right? So that's pretty much what that's going to look like. And I'm going to lay my entire piece of fish right on that. Okay, so as you can see, our fish is nicely on our tray. You can see the onions and the lemons right there. And now we're going to work on our topping for this dish. Okay, folks, so for our topping for our fish, I'm actually going to be using today cashews, ground cashews. For this dish, you can use almonds, you can use walnuts, any type of nut. I would stay away from peanuts just because the flavor is very strong. But cashews, for me, would work really well in this dish because it also has a high fat content. One thing about codfish is it's a very delicate fish. It doesn't have a lot of fat. So what we want to do is cook it in a way that brings a little bit more fat back into it so that it's not dry when it's done cooking. So we have here some cashews. It's regular cashews, roasted, and I just put it in my food processor and grind it down completely. As you can see, I do not recommend buying nut flours in the supermarket only because it's more mealy and it would not give you that nice crunch that we're looking for. Then we have here some Parmesan cheese. I actually bought a wedge of Parmesan cheese, cut it up, and same thing, put it in a food processor and grind it up. If you want to buy already ground up Parmesan cheese, you're more than welcome to. Then here I have some lemon zest. So I just zested an entire lemon. All right. And everything I'm going to put here into a mixing bowl. I have some olive oil right here. Some fresh chopped parsley. We're going to also use some smoked paprika, garlic powder, and a little black pepper. The other thing, if you notice, I did not put salt in here. The reason I did not put salt is because of the Parmesan cheese. Parmesan cheese has a high salt content, so I really don't need to add any additional salt to the dish. And I'm also adding the olive oil in the crumb topping because the olive oil would also help everything to come together and give us that topping or crust that sticks. You don't need a lot because, like I said, the nuts have oil in it. So as it cooks, that oil is going to come out and you're going to get that nuttiness from the nuts, but also some really nice flavor and color. So if you, and this is one of those times where I tell people, you don't need to say it's a healthy dish because when they taste it, it really wouldn't matter if it's healthy or not because it just tastes so good. So this crust may not look like a whole lot right now, but the difference is once that gets on the fish, the moisture from the fish is going to come up. It's going to get into that crust. The oils from the crust is going to go back down into the fish and baste it. So you're going to end up with a really nice crust on your fish with some nice color. And it's also going to be moist and tasty. So I'm sure somebody's going to ask if I can cut the fish up in small portions. Of course you can. I didn't cut mine because once again I was talking about cod being very delicate. Once you cut the fish, you have more surface area for the fish to cook, meaning a higher rate of the fish coming out dry. So for me, instead, I prefer to do it whole and then cut it after into portions for my family. All right, so that's my reason behind leaving it whole versus cutting it. So now I have my crust, as you can see here. My nuts and cheese and everything is in here, and now I'm just going to put that and cover my fish completely. All right, and you use your hands for this. There's no other way. So we're just gonna top the fish really well and pat that crust on. And it's okay if a little bit falls, it's not a big deal. And the lemon zest in the crust, oh my gosh, once this starts cooking, the smell that's going to be coming off of this is going to be absolutely amazing. All right, so I'm going to wash my hands. Okay, so here is the fish. All right, as you can see, I just pat that crust on and it sticks to the fish with no issue. All right, and if you didn't know better, you would think it was breadcrumbs. So I'm just going to pop this in the oven, and I'm putting this in a 400-degree oven because, like we talked about, high heat, quick cook so that the fish doesn't dry out. And then we have those lemons and onions to help us with the fish not sticking on the tray, but also just to give us more aromatics into our fish. So our fish is going to take about 15 minutes or so, 15 to 18 minutes to cook. And then we'll come back and see how that looks. Okay, so it's been about 18 minutes now. So I'm going to pull the fish out. Oh, there we go. So for you guys to see, and I can tell my fish is cooked. You see how that flesh is pulling away and opening up, and this is our finished product.